Alright, back again. My discovery, my experience is your new intel that I have been understanding. Been understanding a lot of this for a long time. Starting to understand a whole lot more than what I ever have from my own experiences. And the worst thing, but the best thing about this is that it can help other people. Other people's experience can either help people in a good way or a bad way. It just depends, what you do with your experience and how you choose to do things properly when understanding the process of thinking. And so, I'm going to talk about mental manipulation tactics that are very effective towards somebody's life. Especially in the business that I work in. I work in helping people. That's what I do. That's what a commitment was. That was a path that was chosen. It's something that I chose to upkeep. And it's a very interesting job to do, I guess. Understanding the consciousness part is what a lot of people don't get. We all use our brains in a certain way. We all think differently, but most of all, our behaviors are what. Our behaviors is what, basically determines how we're utilizing our thinking process and stuff like that. So manipulation tactics, the mental ones, the ones that are unknown, the ones that some people aren't even aware of, the false yet silent connections that people try to have with us. It's worse than interaction. It's worse than live interaction. It is worse than having a narcissist friend. It is worse than having any type of narcissist in your life. This is beyond narcissists. I'm going to tell you that right now. This is basically, it makes a narcissist look pretty. So these manipulation tactics, it's interesting because I learned them differently from other people. I learned them by understanding how they're affecting other people. What helped me is helping other people. We have a responsibility on how we help other people. How we choose to help them and how we choose to have a humbleness towards them and understanding, no judgment, not making them feel a certain way. It's very beneficial because you help them with their life. You help them with their story. You help them overcome what they came for the help in the first place. You literally help them by them coming to you for help. And so you're able to understand that. And we have that. Everybody will always have that, accomplishment of, hey, I've helped so many people. It's a good thing. You can see the positive effects. You can see the changes. You whatever it is, right? And so, out of over thousands, great job, right? All that stuff. So, one of the major manipulation tactics that I've been noticing and have been aware of is where they want to utilize everything I just said that's beneficial that is a person's traits. Humbleness, kindness, forgivingness. All those kind qualities that they know of. Knowledge, experience, being able to have abilities that are yet some very important abilities that are rare to come across of. And it's very interesting how it's almost like a pleasing situation, because they will slide into your good graces, but yet both is silent. The interaction is silent because there is none. The mental interaction is silent because they trick the person that they're connecting with silently. So they have to create a false persona, right? And so creating that false persona, it's like the person that's getting manipulated don't even know. How to know? This is very important. How do you know? It's very simple. This is how you know. It's when you know you are making progress, and you know you can make progress, and you know you can say no, and you know you have all the qualities, and you have all the intel, and you have the knowledge, and you have the experience to better yourself. When you know you can. When you know you can buy what you want, because you're an individual adult. When you know you can buy what you want and pull it off the shelf, and you know you've bought this 1,000 times, but then you hear that little voice in the head say something that you've never ever experienced before. Whether it's a smart comment or a degrading comment or whatever. Because most people don't degrade themselves. I mean, I've called myself, a loser a couple times, but I ain't going to overdo it. I've called myself stupid a couple times. I ain't going to overdo it. The difference between humiliating yourself and somebody humiliating you is you'll hear it. Don't let what you hear get you into a situation. Don't let anybody bind you. Because that's the crappy part. Is when you don't know somebody's binding you. So manipulation tactics are very interesting. Especially when it comes to psychically ones. Because they mess with your psyche. Once again, if you've taken the initiative steps to understand your situation, to let go, to move on from the situation, no matter what ups and downs you have or mishaps, and you keep on getting triggered more than a trigger, you'll know your triggers, because you can say no to your triggers. But if you find yourself not being able to do so, then you know there's a manipulation tactic. Because naturality, it would be something else than a talking to. Or something. There's a difference between you walking towards and someone guiding you towards. There's a very big difference. Always got to look out for that. This silent type of manipulation is deadly. Why is it deadly? Because they're controlling your mind. It's that silent connection that you would never know. And when you have somebody tricking you and playing somebody else that you know, whether it's a friend, a family member, whatever, whomever it is. It's very negative. These tactics are from somebody learning more than what they should have. They have asked a lot of questions. The first mistake would have been reminiscing 2, 3, 4 times. Because somebody repetitively wants to know your experience when you already know your experience. So their tactics are basically repeating what you've already overcome. Why? Because they trigger your mind to reflect back on a situation. If you've ever had any problems in the past, let them go. Because that's the number one solution. Because they will make you reflect back on the most smallest things. And that's what they call the doubt. You know, people can go to a church and you'll get them awesome seminars and that awesome encouragement of it's doubt. Get rid of that doubt. You know, so many books, so many YouTube shows, so many everything out there that will inspire you to get rid of that doubt. I'm going to tell you right now, this is how you get rid of that doubt. Is by overcoming those little things. By letting them go. It's truth. Know that when they say truth will set you free, the truth is the truth. If it's that bad, if your truth is that bad, then move on. If it's not that bad, then what? Your truth and their manipulation will not affect you. It's like they can keep yakking and yakking and yakking. If it's a strong sense of control, well, you have a sense too. That's a sense of knowing. These tactics is exactly what it is. That is somebody's doubt. Is another person. Why? Because this isn't about making a choice or a decision. Especially if you haven't made one. Therefore, these controlling tactics, they're going to pick up everything that you may have tried to shrug off your shoulders or not worry about it or whatever. Anything brought up that you may hear or have a sense of other people's knowings is manipulation. How do you battle a knowing from another person's knowing? Because one knowing's fake and yours ain't. So that would be the only way. Now, these manipulation tactics also come with threats. These tactics, they can be threatful. They can be that. But know that the manipulator can only control so much. Because they still have to live a life. How do they do so? They get other manipulators involved. They offer deals. They offer freeness. They offer all this good stuff. This is just like that saying that, you know, what the news puts on TV is when a stranger offers your child candy. Except this is going to be mental. This is going to be psychically. This is going to be that negative, what a church would call devil work. Now, people can go to a church all day long, which is great. But right here is where you're going to get the truth. Because it's consciousness. It's awareness. And don't ever think for a minute that that sweetness of persuasion and manipulation, things are over. Because always be aware that if they're consciously doing this, they've made their decision. They've literally made their decision to manifest the person that they are manipulating. Meaning, the person they are manipulating, they are being manifested. And they have an infestation that needs to be gotten rid of. They will bring up so many things. Not to mention, they will cover up so many things by making you think over it. Because they are thinking over it. It's kind of interesting. It's like a certain way of stacking paperwork, but with images. It's very sad. Because they will make you forget about your own self. They will make you forget about somebody that you've known in your life for whatever many numbers of years. You can pick a number. 1 through 20 through 30 through 40. It doesn't matter. They will make you forget about that person. And all of a sudden time will go by. It's just like that saying, life flies by, right? Where'd the time go? Well, the time went from somebody not making you want to think. So these manipulation tactics, they're all type of manipulation tactics, and they have reasoning to them. Understand the reasoning. If you don't understand the reasoning, I'm sure you'll figure it out by wondering what it is. Because you got to care enough about it to fix a solution. Will you get the answer you want? Probably not. Will you get upset? Probably so. But if you're in the situation, you're listening to this, or if you're in a situation and you're going to church, if you're doing anything positive that is allowing you to better yourself and you're trying to fix your situation to do better, then and you're doing everything there is to make that positive change in your life, and these things are still happening, then you know somebody's manipulating you. And you know it's mental. These things are going to happen with consciousness. And they're not very common. Because usually they'll go away. So if it's like a long period of time or something, you know, something definitely isn't right. So like a situation needs to be evaluated. But these tactics, they're kind of interesting because everything's being utilized that they know that will affect you. Not only that, it's because something's affecting them. And so when something's affecting them, they're trying to take from you. You know, so trying to figure out what it is, that's a whole nother problem. They did something wrong themselves. So always understand, stay true to what, you know, to what your positive change is. And of course, there's only two ways to live. Like, you know, we all live bad most of our life. And when we want to change or when we want to do better, we end up taking the initial steps to do better. So when you start that process of doing better, you know, keep up with that, all those positive things that you're doing in life and those qualities and stuff like that. These manipulation tactics are very effective from what I've witnessed, because they're pulling you out of your now, and they're making you reflect back on something so they can obtain more memories of people in your life so they can use against you. It's almost like a crazy way of saying it's time hopping. Almost like a facade of like what, like what we can watch a movie about, time machine and stuff. And this crap will make you feel awkward depending on what they're doing. I mean, there's so many tactics. They'll use your own family. They'll use the importance in your life. And that's what it comes down to. They'll use every negative such situation that wasn't so bad. They will set you up to be set up. They will use anything against you. Images, behaviors, their own behaviors, words, all that stuff. They'll pull you out of your zone. They'll do anything. Mental manipulation. It's the wrong way of doing things. Why? Individuality. That's why we have individuality. That's why we have self-care. But careful, because self-care, you get more out of it when you're actually doing it. When you're actually doing the self-care work. There's a fine line between metaphysical and physical. These manipulation tactics, it's like we have the psyche part of it, which, yes, we're all supposed to be in that good mind frame. We're all supposed to be in that positive aspect of life. We're all supposed to have good thoughts. But this is where they like to manipulate you, because they'll allow you to have them for a little bit. And then it's like they take that energy back. And you're like, whoa. It's like what they would call a shift. But it's not a natural shift. And so all of a sudden you'll feel awkward, like, what the heck just happened? How come I can't get back in my good thought mode? Well, thoughts are mental psyche, and there you go. What overpowers that is physical. Writing, reading, exercising, whatever it is. Now, the worst thing about this is they're doing this for benefits of taking your positiveness away and utilizing it, which is the wrong way of using energy. It's very wrong. Which is another form of manipulation. I have witnessed it to the understanding that they will affect the people that you care about, which would be long-term relationships. It's like falsifying matchmaking. these tactics are the worst tactics to have. Why? Because what we do throughout our daily basis, what we educate ourselves with, how we utilize things in our life, whether it's writing things down, or if you like crystals and they make you feel better, or you like lighting candles, or you like the mist machines, or stuff like that. Anything that makes you feel comfortable. It's like careful what you do. Because if you're doing wrong or right, there's a major difference. That's why it's important to stay on your good path. Now, for the people out there that are doing wrong, I'm going to explain to you what happens. What happens to you is you get used to it. Just like anything else in life, like riding a bike or driving a car. You get used to it. So if it's negative, work on it. Because the next thing you know, these negative behaviors naturally come when your very, very own caring, close person to you can do something to you. It could be the slightest, minute thing. Whether it's just raising the voice or having a bad day or whatever. And instantly, that negative side of that person will go to what it knows most. And will repeat a process that they should have let go of. And the next thing you know, they're trying to calm themselves down and use every quality of something positive to not allow that behavior to follow through. And so it's quite interesting, when it comes to the positive and negative about these things. It doesn't matter what it is. Negative, positive, it don't matter. It don't matter how you put it. You got good, bad, you got negative, positive, right, wrong, it don't matter. What's wrong is wrong, what's right is right. Okay? And so these things are important to be aware of. Because what we do naturally in our life, what we majorly spend our time doing, that's our behavior system. Our behavior system defines us. Okay? You don't want to let those qualities of behavior define us. And that's why it's always important to do positive, to change the aspects of the negative. Like, it's like I was talking about a couple days ago. Like, abilities. What we do with them. We all have negatives. My experience, I've witnessed, also have understood how they utilize what was negative into a positive to help society. Why help society? Because our family has to grow up into society. Our kids have to grow up in a society. What you leave behind is important. Your legacy is important because it will affect your children. That's why it's important to get rid of the negative habits. Psychic connections are very important to understand. Understanding them can help a person get out of a situation that can be deadly. Why? Because of the thought process. Hidden tendencies. You gotta recognize those. If you're not the average person that has that, and like I said, you've been trying to better yourself, that's a warning sign. One of these major things that are the issue in them is energy. No energy. Understand what energy is. It's not a game. Keep it natural. Energy itself is a negative behavior. Know what's natural, know what's metaphysical. Because you don't want somebody inflicting your bad side. And if they do, we always have the right to be like, what? That's what I'm working on, is getting rid of it. No common sense, no common logic, no common thinking. Know what they want from you. Because when you know what they want from you, it's probably what you're bettering yourself in. It's probably what you're doing. It can be what they're against. But at the same time, if you're bettering yourself and you're helping, and you ain't doing nothing wrong. If somebody's intruding and you ain't doing nothing wrong, they don't understand that they're affecting themselves in many ways. These back and forth situations are not good. Finding a way out. It's by understanding, not allowing, not letting their cause be your effect. Individuality. It's important. Individuality. Know what it is. Know your naturalness. Know what naturalness is. Know what intuition is. Know how our minds work. Understand the anatomy of things. Because organs get labeled, not people. When it comes to the anatomy, our organs are organs. Our body parts are body parts. Things are not labeled in our body. Don't let yourself be tricked. No common sense. Always no common sense. Because, once again, there's two different kinds, male and female. But we're still all human. The science is very minute. Know what natural energy is. Because our bodies alone has a naturalness. Know what isn't natural. Know the difference between them. Know who's in your life. Know the behaviors. Understand the shows that I'm broadcasting live. Because somebody will be able to put this all together. If you have people in your lives like this, you can let them go. If you have this effect in your life, you cannot allow it. How did I find out? I secluded myself for a long time. And like I said before, helped enough people to understand all this. I've understood the people that I have helped. My wife has also helped people. We've understood their change. We can see some of people's changes. We understand. We all have lives. That's what's important, is living our life and doing what we got to do to live, to build a foundation, to enjoy life. Don't let yourself get caught up with somebody enjoying their life by manipulation of yourself. Because these tactics, they need to be aware of. Knowing these tactics will at least allow you to understand that somebody is manipulating you. I mean, the solutions are all, about bettering yourself, staying positive, staying on your good path. Unfortunately, this stuff, it affects you. It affects a lot. Always know your proper truth with your life. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. Other people's manipulation that they want to mentally produce upon another person, it's like, if they're not properly, I want to say aligned, but aligned's like the wrong word. Because a long-term person in your life, y'all should know each other. And that's what matters. But when somebody don't really know you to your fullest, it's like it's their mistake for trying to connect with you in the first place. One thing I like doing is plugging my ears. Why do I plug my ears? So I can fully understand my mind, my body. Know what spirit is. Know what energy is. A lot of people misinterpret it. A lot of people have a different view on it. But understand what it is. Why? Because their facade of their own viewing or what they may think other things are is a tactic itself. So knowing the truth, knowing realisticness from unrealisticness, it is a big difference. Because people try to scare you in these ways. Don't let them affect you. I've been manipulated to where I picked up my phone and it's like, I was going to check something specific, and then all of a sudden my mind veers off, and yeah, it takes a second or two, and then you get back on track. Now it's interesting because I've had ADHD and all that stuff my whole life. And I know how it works. I know the limitations of it. And this is worse. This is 10 times worse. So understanding my own self also allowed me to understand this. How I understood it, I didn't have to analyze it because it just got analyzed right now. But my body, my mind, operated a certain way my whole life. And so I knew something was up. Started witnessing. Started paying attention to. Started hearing. All this manipulation going on. There's only so much in life that a person can take. And then eventually they're going to stand up for themselves. And then it's gotten to the point of where I'm going to stand up for other people in this way, in this method. Why? Because they need to hear this. They need to know this. Because I know other people are getting manipulated because of someone's selfish reason. And that's all it is a selfish reason. Know who not to be affiliated with. The more you take care of your issues, the more you take care of your personal issues, behavior issues, blames towards others, jealousy towards others, whatever it is, it allows you to think less of these people that manipulate like this. You know, unfortunately, there's a major effect for these people that manipulate that they don't understand. They don't understand how the universe works. You know, but ourselves, you know, we're all people. We all do things differently. So know what you like. Know what you appreciate. Know what you don't like. Because they'll even try to change your lifestyle. Make sure your lifestyle is changing for the better. Always know yourself. Don't think less of yourself. There's many flaws with everybody. Appreciate that you're alive. Learn how to enjoy life. Manipulation serves no purpose. Self-care, self-improvement, self-love, all that stuff. Know when you're overindulging. Learn how to say no. Give yourself time to understand. Learn when you're being set up. Learn how to understand before you're being set up. That's another manipulation tactic that other people use. And unfortunately, it's energy. Learn that energy shouldn't be transferred. What's the proper transferring? It's plain and simple. It's like going to school and getting educated. You have somebody teaching, and all the students are writing down stuff, and they are educating themselves. They are interpreting what the teacher is saying. They are understanding it. If they do not understand, they'll either raise their hand, or they will talk to the professor, or the teacher, or the whatever grade, whatever it is. And they will ask questions. That is the proper transferring of information.